Hello, and welcome to A Nerd. Today, we're going to be taking a look at BioShock Infinite. Now, I love BioShock Infinite. I could talk in depth for days about the story and the gameplay mechanics, but you know what? Give the people what they want. What the people they don't want this in-depth analysis, this thoughtful script writing. You know what people like? They like digestible content. They like top 10s. So today is my top 10 awesome things in BioShock Infinite. And there's just gonna be like complete spoilers. I'm not gonna worry about spoilers. It's been out for a year. Just go play it. It's probably still on PlayStation Plus. Just go ahead and give that little puppy a download. This is my top 10. There's probably things I missed. There's probably things I forgot. Just don't worry about it. Top 10 awesome things. BioShock Infinite. There are tons of secrets in BioShock Infinite, and I'm the type to always be scrounging around for secrets, you know, hunting for all of the hidden items and areas, that sort of thing. And every now and then, something cool will happen in these areas. The first time this stood out to me was in this one little area off to the side in the shantytown level. I was just looking around, hunting for secrets, and... Hold on. What was that? Oh my god, it's Tainted Love. This is my jam. Number 10 on my list of awesome things in BioShock Infinite, Tainted Love. Or, okay, just pop culture references in general. They're sprinkled all throughout Columbia, but still uncommon enough that when you find them, you're just like, what? That's cool. What's fun is that they're anachronisms. This game is set in 1912, so hearing things like the Beach Boys and Tainted Love is just fun and always managed to put a smile on my face.
I've made it very clear that I don't believe in the exercise.
The rowing?
No. Imagine that's wonderful exercise.
Then what?
The entire thought experiment.
The Lutesses are the first characters you meet in the game, and they're weird. You get this vibe of like bizarre and witty, and I at least knew I was gonna like them from the start.
Heads.
Or tails.
I guess they're sort of based on the titular characters in the play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. I mean, that's what my housemate Zach told me. I didn't read all of it. I read part of it. They did the coin thing. It's witty. I don't know. So yeah, they do fun stuff like the coin thing, and like they have this sort of all-knowingness and self-awareness. Like this part where Rosalind acknowledges that the dialogue loops.
If you keep this up, I'll be forced to start repeating myself.
For the first 2/3 of the game, you really just have no idea who the hell they are. And then you start to learn stuff through like voxophones and tears and those pseudo cutscenes at the end of the game, and you realize, holy shit, these characters are so much more interesting and human than I originally thought. And it turns out that like Robert is the male counterpart of Rosalind from another universe. So that's pretty awesome, but I kind of missed that part after playing the game twice. I don't know how I missed it. The story is so goddamn convoluted. I mean, I love this game. Lutesses. Good. Number 8 on the list, racism. Okay, so racism isn't awesome, but the exploration of it as a theme was something I thought was pretty interesting. I guess this awesome thing is more along the lines of themes in general in BioShock Infinite. Like the aforementioned racism theme, as well as things like classism and religion. They were bold choices that I don't think I've ever seen in any other game. And they caused a lot of controversy, at least according to Wikipedia over here. Apparently Ken Levine wanted BioShock Infinite to function as a Rorschach test and didn't want to buy into a single view. But I find that pretty hard to believe. Maybe this is the result of my own Rorschach test, but I feel like the game does a pretty good job of demonstrating the atrocities you might see surrounding these themes, particularly in a dystopian society. I felt really uncomfortable at times, especially with the little side racist comments from NPCs.
Tell me about it. An Oriental stopped me on the street and asked me for the time. Just like that. There should be a law. I think there is.
And when they give you the baseball to throw with the interracial couple, you're like, man, this game is so nice and happy. And then, oh, they want me to... What? Like, it definitely takes a stance against that kind of stuff. And Elizabeth even comments on the segregated bathrooms.
Why is one bathroom for colors and the other for whites?
It just is.
Seems like an unnecessary complication.
Okay, so maybe the racism gets a little out of hand in the Hall of Heroes, but overall I think it was presented well. And even the Hall of Heroes didn't seem like it was condoning the racist stuff, at least. Like, it was still presented as an atrocity, but it still played up some really bad stereotypes, and I would say that was the one point I felt like they overdid it. Later in the game you get some interesting story stuff surrounding the rebellious working class Vox Populi, including some really dark shit when you step into that one tear into another universe. Like, even though the game originally portrayed the Vox Populi as the sort of oppressed underdogs in one universe, it wasn't afraid to then explore more complicated morality surrounding the uprising in another universe.
If you want to get rid of the weed, you gotta pull it up from the root. It's the only way to be.
The religious themes were okay as well, though they could have been a bit more interesting. The whole crazy, bigoted, racist religious leader thing has been a bit overplayed. I still think it's a good choice, especially for the main antagonist, but there wasn't anything especially new in BioShock Infinite's portrayal of it. They could have done a bit more to flesh out the religion itself, as well as Comstock's motivation for his weird beliefs. Still, it was pretty cool to explore the broken society who bought into Comstock's screwed up religion.
What am I?
I'm not a huge fan of the first-person shooter genre in general, but man can I appreciate the guns in this game. Most, if not all of them, feel balanced and feel good. Each gun has a distinct feel, and they cater to different playstyles. I usually like to keep around a carbine and have some close-range high-power gun in the second slot. And like, stoners are probably going to keep the shotgun and sniper around. I really like the design choice of forcing the player to keep only 2 guns, unlike carrying around an entire arsenal of weapons like in the first game. BioShock Infinite in general sets up for builds, sort of like an RPG. This 2-gun limitation coupled with things like weapon upgrades just adds to that. Money is in pretty short supply in this game, and is used to purchase both gun and vigor upgrades. So you don't want to just buy gun upgrades willy-nilly, you have to plan ahead and figure out what you're probably going to use the most and what you'll have ammo for. Like, you're probably going to have a hard time if you just plan on using the heater and the hand cannon. They're powerful, but slow and often in short supply. You'll also often find weapons in areas where they'll be especially effective, another gun design choice I like, by the way. So if you've only invested in your 2 favorite weapons, you might be at a disadvantage if an area really calls for the use of, say, a sniper. This is just further adding to the whole RPG-style build idea that you'll see a lot of in this game. Wow, jumping off of Columbia is somehow satisfying. When I first jumped off the edge to see what would happen, I was very happy to experience this. It's quick, consequence-free, and yeah, just somehow really satisfying. I don't even know why. I like it, okay? This is my list. Just look at this idiot die. I'm still alive, fucker. I can never die. Shit. BioShock Infinite mostly does a really great job of teaching you certain mechanics through the gameplay. Sure, they have little disruptive videos when you get each vigor, but other than that, there weren't any intrusive directions for how to play the game. The way you're first introduced to the primary mechanics of the game is by walking through a delightful fair. They have game booths that teach you how vigors and guns work, not that it's especially complicated in the first place. The fair also teaches other smaller game mechanics, like the existence of vending machines and voxophones.
What's a voxophone?
I loved the whole Disneyland vibe of the game, so I had a lot of fun exploring the fair, but I can see how someone might not like how they did this. But that's why this is in my top 10 and not yours. Plus, you can run through it if you want, which is a nice design choice for people who don't really care about learning. Later in the game, more specific mechanics are also taught really well through gameplay. Like, you'll fight enemies using slightly different versions of certain vigors before getting them, like the crow and fire enemies.
That's a kiss. Well, you only live once.
Or the first encounter after receiving a new vigor will perfectly show you its benefit. Like, look at all these enemies just standing around near each other right after you get the bucking bronco vigor. It's a perfect setup to show you how to use it effectively. And I actually did this next one on accident. After you get the Undertow Vigor, you get this large-scale skirmish with a bunch of these little battleships surrounding you. When you get a new Vigor, it's automatically equipped, so I accidentally used Undertow on this guy. And look at that! It can be effectively used to push people off the side of Columbia. Good design! And even small things like how to use hooks aren't shoved down your throat. Like, look at this. You just have to figure out to jump to the hook. Zach, how do I do this?
Fucking idiot.
How do I do it? I've sort of alluded to this already, but one of my favorite things about this game is how much it feels like Disneyland. The whole opening feels just like walking down Main Street, USA. Everything's just bright and happy and beautiful. I mean, just look at how good this game looks from any angle. The art direction in this game is phenomenal. At any point, you can pretty much look at anything and it would be frame-worthy. I'm also a big fan of the way people feel like animatronics. Walking through any crowded portion of this game feels a lot like riding Pirates of the Caribbean or Indiana Jones. NBC's repeat motions and dialogue, which some people complained about, but those people hate Disneyland and we don't listen to them. I actually like it less when the people talk directly to you because it sort of breaks the animatronic feeling. This was an intentional choice, by the way, which is evidenced by Rosalind Lutess's self-aware statement that we looked at earlier.
If you keep this up, I'll be forced to start repeating myself.
Furthering the Disneyland vibe are things like bright, vibrant signs at the start of each new section in the game. And different sections tend to feel as different from the previous ones as differently themed areas of Disneyland. Just look at the shift when you walk into the Crow building. And then when you fall into the beach area. This happens all throughout the game, and I love it. I've been perfectly molded over the course of my entire life to unconditionally love Disneyland and anything slightly resembling Disneyland, so this whole feeling is just great. It reminds me of my love for Disneyland. Immersion's a pretty meaningless word that gets thrown around a lot these days in regards to video games, but if it applies to anything, I think it applies to BioShock Infinite. Like, you look at Disneyland and you think, that's an immersive experience, so I think BioShock Infinite feels immersive in the same way. Like, there's a really cool attention to detail here too. Look at this one dude shine this other dude's shoes. Wait. What is that? Is there space between the brush and the shoe here? Hey, you're breaking my immersion. No, stop my immersion. My immersion is breaking. No. So I kind of just talked about this. Whatever. Who cares? I don't care. But number 3 on my list is atmosphere and tone shifts. This goes along with what I just said about the breaking up of Disneyland-esque themed areas and how sharp the atmosphere changes are. It's pretty awesome. Like, even going back through Shantytown a second time after stepping into a tear feels atmospherically unique from the previous experience. Tone shifts contrast in a similar way. The whole cheery opening ends with this baseball bit. You're just like, hey, I could get used to the idea of a utopian sky society. And then there's that awful baseball thing. And then 5 seconds later, you're brutally cutting up a dude's face. This happens a lot throughout the course of the game and keeps things from getting stale or feeling repetitive. So this one's sort of a broad, awesome thing to put in a list, but I think it's important to note. Number 2 on my list is level design / gameplay.
Why didn't you just do a review?
Shut up! The first BioShock had innovative gameplay elements, but I never felt like I was truly playing a refined game in terms of gameplay and level design. I loved that game for different reasons, like the environment and the story, and while the levels were really cool and the gameplay was fun, it never felt like a game I would play exclusively for those reasons. That isn't the case with BioShock Infinite. Each encounter or skirmish in BioShock Infinite feels unique and well thought out. This isn't particularly obvious on easy mode, which is what I played for this footage. Look what I can do! But once you start getting into hard and 1999 modes, you begin to see how well designed BioShock Infinite is purely as a game. I'm not very far into 1999 mode, but watch this segment towards the beginning of the game. The designers played to the benefits of linear gameplay. Like, I really have to plan out every single attack and approach in the game. And the designers placed specific ways to get around different things. Like, look, on easier modes I would go in guns blazing, but that doesn't work here. So I have to assess what I have at my disposal and how to get through this segment effectively and efficiently. Possessing the turret seems to be the best way to take these guys out, but then I have to consider that I have limited salts and that the turret is only my friend for a limited amount of time. If I make inefficient choices earlier in a level, then I might not have the resources I need for later parts. This is also where the checkpoint system shines as opposed to BioShock 1's save anywhere system. Now there's actual potential for a game over that sends me back to the beginning of a level. Or at the very least I'll lose precious money, which is essential for adequately upgrading my guns and vigors. Fucking Rapture. I played this game almost a year after it came out, but somehow I managed to avoid spoilers. After the crazy twist in the first BioShock game, it was pretty much expected that there would be some big thing in this game. As much as I liked a lot of the story choices in this game, I had a lot of problems with its presentation at times. It sometimes got confusing and convoluted, and I was waiting, just waiting for some big payoff, something to bring everything together. And then there was that moment after the final fight. You see Songbird in the water and the gears in your brain start kicking in, and you're just like, wait, Rapture's underwater. This is a BioShock game. Rapture was in a BioShock game. Oh my god. And everything comes into focus and your mind is just sufficiently blown. My mouth dropped when I looked around and found myself standing in the starting area of the first BioShock. That's where I got my first plasmid and fell off the balcony. And that's where I first got the wrench. Oh my god, we're getting into the bathysphere. This is amazing. I kept trying to piece together how the hell this could be possible. In early interviews, the developers were pretty vague on how exactly this game fit in with the original BioShock game. Everyone was kind of under the impression that it was a spiritual successor, that it was similar in execution but ultimately took place in a different universe. Oh wait, it technically did take place in a different universe. Ha 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 ha! Fuck you, Ken Levine! Just kidding. I love you. And then when you're going through all the lighthouses and it's all coming together, you realize why the game is called BioShock Infinite. I had never really questioned it before, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, like, the sky is like in infinity. It's like Buzz Lightyear. It's infinity and beyond. I don't know. I didn't question it. And then it dawns on you. It's referring to the number of BioShock-esque universes. Holy shit. They could make amazing and unique games in this series forever. And then Ken Levine leaves Irrational Games, and we're left hoping that future BioShock games at least don't suck completely. And then that ending, that symbolism, this circularity. Your Comstock, or like in some universes or something. I'm still not sure I buy that Booker could become Comstock, but it was still cool. I just kind of stared at my TV screen afterwards, not sure if I hated or loved this game. And that means it was a good choice. This game's ending still keeps me up at night. So those are my top 10 awesome things in BioShock Infinite. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, why not give me a little subscribe down there? I've got more content on the way, including a follow-up to this video, top 10 shitty things in BioShock Infinite. That might not come out for a while, but I'll put a link up when it's up. And you can, in the meantime, check out my Pokemon Snap review I did a couple months back. This is pretty good. You should check it out.